Hey, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Drum, and I'm coming to you today with a review for The Real Housewives of Potomac Season 3 Reunion Part 2. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the reunion, this part of the reunion started back up with where we ended last week. And that was with Karen, breaking down about her mom and her dad. And like I said last week, man, I completely understand where Karen's coming from, and I really feel bad for Karen because it's hard enough to lose a parent, your mother, and then she had to turn around and lose her father. That I don't know anything about. I have lost my mother and I've lost my grandmother, who were both like my parents. So I absolutely 100% understand where Karen is coming from. It's hard and it's difficult, but like I said, I get it, and I know it has to be even harder with them filming this reality show and then having to put their whole life on display and all that kind of stuff. So my heart goes out to Karen, and I really have a newfound respect for Karen. Although Karen still lies, but I still have a completely newfound respect for Karen with this whole situation, because it does show, like Giselle said, it shows that Karen is a strong person, and like I said, I have a newfound respect for her. And you get Giselle, she goes back out on the couch with Andy and the rest of the girls and all that kind of stuff, and Giselle starts crying, and I'm like, are you putting it on for the camera or what? She could have been and she could not have been at the same time. I don't know. And then Andy's asking her how Karen is and all that kind of stuff. And then Karen finally does come back out, and all the girls express empathy and sympathy for her, which I thought that was cool. I thought it was cool coming from Ashley and from Robin. I really thought that was cool. I'm like, finally, you guys can just sit down and say, hey, let's put the bullshit aside and let's be here for Karen. Like, I respected that in that time. Okay, and then we move on to Giselle and Sherman, and then we are joined by Charisse. And we find out with this one that Charisse is selling her house, and I'm like, didn't you just do one last season? Your whole storyline was about you adding this champagne room to your house. But whatever, Charisse, if that's what makes you happy, shout out to you and kudos to Charisse. So then a viewer asked the question of Giselle, why did Karen get a free pass, but Monique didn't get a free pass with the whole Kendall situation? And Giselle basically said that the reason why Monique doesn't get a free pass is because Monique initially sought out to get Kendall on for season 3. And Monique was like, that's not the case, and again, Monique is putting it all on Charisse. And Charisse does say that, yes, I have tried to get Kendall on the show, season 1 and season 2. And then Andy even, said, yeah, he knows about that. And, he asked Giselle how she felt about it. And Giselle's whole thing was, she knew about Charisse trying to get Kendall on the show. But because Kendall was so boring and all that kind of stuff, she just wasn't able to get on the show and all that kind of stuff. And, Charisse is saying that when it comes down to Kendall, she didn't actually bring Kendall on the show. It was Monique who did that. And that is true. Monique is actually the only person out of all the girls that actually filmed a solo scene with Kendall this season. Now, it could have been, Charisse could have filmed a solo scene with Kendall, but we don't know that because, once again, Charisse is not a full-time housewife. So we don't necessarily know if Charisse actually did film with Kendall or not, but just going based off of what we see, Monique was the one who originally filmed with Kendall and all that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much it. I'm really kind of over this whole Kendall situation. Like, next season, let's dead that shit and not even bring it up again. Let's just forget about Kendall at this point. I'm over it. I'm over Kendall, I'm over Sherman, and I'm over Giselle and this Monique shit. I'm over it. So then Andy asked Giselle, well, what happened with her and Sherman? And Giselle basically is saying that it was that whole People magazine article that was the reason why she and Sherman broke up. But she did let us know that after she and Sherman broke up, Sherman did tell her that he went shopping for a ring. And I'm like, he could have just said that just to make you be like, oh, Sherman went to shop for me a ring and all that kind of stuff. And Karen pointed out, what we all kind of figure is Giselle does not want to get married again. And Giselle kind of agreed to that and all that kind of stuff. And then Andy asked Giselle if Sherman asked, what would she do if Sherman wanted to get back with her? And she said, well, he does want to get back with me, and we are in communication with each other. The communication is getting better. I think she said they talk 4 times a day and all that kind of stuff. And then Andy said, well, do you guys think you'll go see counseling and all that kind of stuff? And she said, yes, we will go seek. We're actually going to seek counseling soon. So, I guess things are going good for Giselle and Sherman. Hopefully if they are to work things out, that they will put everything on the table, this Kendall situation and all that kind of stuff, and they can move on. And then Ashley also tweeted that, you know, Sherman clearly has a type. And, you know, she said he has a type for light skin and long hair. And Bravo was shady as fuck for that comparison of Kendall and Giselle. Because clearly Giselle has a ponytail in her head, and I'm pretty sure Kendall has weave in her head. I don't know, but they were shady as fuck for that one. But I guess I can see where, you know, Ash is coming from. He does clearly have a type. Light-skinned women, you know, tall women and all that kind of stuff. So he clearly does have a type. And then I'm just not here for Giselle when it comes to bashing, you know, Kendall, calling her horse vest and all that kind of stuff. Because she's not a bad-looking woman. I just don't know why Giselle feels the need to attack her looks. Like, I don't know if Kendall has said anything negatively about Giselle, but, you know, it's just weird to see Giselle constantly talk about this woman's looks. And then Monique, you know, Monique says how she felt bad about the whole Kendall situation. And, you know, I'm actually in agreement when it comes to what Giselle said. I don't really believe 100% that Monique was actually sorry about the whole thing that happened with Kendall herself and Giselle. I think it's what Giselle said. I think that Monique, after the whole backlash from Twitter and all that stuff, I think that's what made Monique feel the way that Monique felt. I don't really believe 100% that Monique is sorry about anything that she did. I think Monique did that to get back at Giselle. But when it backfired on Monique, that's when Monique wanted to backpedal and be like, you know what, I did feel bad. I had a little bit of remorse about doing it. And then Giselle even pointed it out that, you know, you mentioned it more than once on the show. So how can you feel too much remorse if you kept repeating the same thing? And I had to agree with Giselle on that one because, like she said, Monique kept repeating it. And like she said, I don't believe that Monique was 100% sorry because, like I said, Monique didn't say anything about this until people went in on her on Twitter. And, you know, Andy asked a question about Charisse and Monique's relationship. You know, where is it at right now? And basically right now, Monique and Charisse have no relationship at all. You know, Charisse is basically saying that Monique did some questionable things, which she never hinted at what questionable that she did. But my guess is it's that whole, you know, her network of friends and all that kind of stuff. Which Monique said that Charisse was like, oh, if you have a masseuse, oh, I have one, I'll give you their contact number and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, Charisse is like that won the case and all that kind of stuff. And then basically Charisse questions Monique's loyalty. And then, you know, they both end up saying that they good. And I'm like, God, that's crazy. But, you know, I don't know. It was weird just to look at that whole shit and all that kind of stuff. Because, I mean, I don't know what was so questionable about Monique's character for Charisse besides the whole, you know, her feeling like she was telling her network of friends and all that kind of stuff. So I really don't know. I was confused by it. All right, so we finally get the men. They come out. We find out that Chris has lost 35 pounds. Monique's husband, Chris, that is. And then, you know, Andy's telling Candace's fiance, Chris, that there were a lot of questions about his dick and the color of it and all that kind of stuff. So he does say that his dick is not white, which I don't think anybody really, truly 100% gave a fuck about that, but whatever. And, you know, Andy asked Chris how he felt about when Candace said that, you know, she lowered her standards to be with a man that has kids. And basically, Chris said he didn't really believe that Candace meant it in the way that it came out. And I'm like, what other way could she have meant by she lowered her standards to be with a man that has kids? But whatever, that ain't my business. Moving on. And then Candace said Candace kind of owned up to what she said and that she was wrong for saying it, which she was wrong for saying it. If you love this man, you didn't really lower your standards to be with him. You just, I don't know. I don't think she lowered, it's not you lowering your standards. It's you changing your thinking process. It's changing what you're used to. It's changing what you expected yourself to have. It's not lowering your standards. It's just changing your thought process and all that kind of stuff. It's just changing what you expected for yourself. That's basically what it is. And, you know, Andy asked Chris, Monique's husband, how he felt after the miscarriage. And he was like, you know, with them having the 2 kids, he just kind of took the 3rd child for granted. But it did affect him and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, he's talking about, you know, Andy was asking him how did he feel about the girls and all that kind of stuff, talking about Monique and her drinking and the miscarriage. And, you know, he didn't really like it. And then he also let us know that somebody tweeted to Monique talking about, you know, her alcoholism is the reason why she lost her baby. And I'm like, that's some fucked up shit to say to this woman. Like, I'm pretty sure that is fresh on her mind every day that she had a miscarriage, and then some ignorant ass motherfucker on Twitter gonna sit there and tell her she is an alcoholic and that's why she lost her baby. Like, that's some fucked up shit to tell that woman. Like, that's bullshit. Moving back over to the other Chris, I forgot to mention this. Andy asked him how are things right now with him and his oldest son, and basically Chris said there's no change in his relationship with his oldest son. You know, he sends him mail and all, you know, he writes him and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, why don't you go to where your son is, knock on the fucking door? I don't give a fuck what the mother says, unless there's like a restraining order or something out there, or a restraining order, a court order or something that is keeping you physically away from your child. You need to be on a plane, a bus, car, whatever you got to do to get to your son and let him know, hey man, I love you, you my son, I want to be in your life and all that kind of stuff. And you know, it's so funny. It sounds, you know, how many of y'all want to bet that this baby mama that Chris got is black? Because it sounds like, and I hate to say it, but it just sounds like some of the stuff that you hear when it comes to a, God, I don't want to say that. Well, I gotta say it. You know, like, because I have friends that have I have homegirls that have their baby daddies. They talk about how they ain't shit and all that kind of stuff, and they, you know, because they have such issues with the baby daddy, they inadvertently affect their child by not letting their child see the dad. So that's why I say I feel like it's probably a black person, but it could be a white woman. You never know. So I hope I'm not offending anybody by saying that, but that's just typically from my experience how I see it. So, you know, Andy did ask Chris how he felt about Sharice and Monique's relationship. And Chris is like, man, I love Sharice and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, he's like, you know, once Monique is done with you, Monique is done with you. And I absolutely feel the same way. Once I'm done with you, I'm done with you. We ain't coming back from nothing. So I definitely get where Chris is coming from with that one. All right, and then we move over to Karen and Ray. You know, Andy is asking him about the tax issues and all that kind of stuff. And there was a viewer question that asked, you know, excuse me, y'all. There was a viewer question that asked Ray, why did he keep everything from Karen, and does he regret that? Ray's whole thing was, you know, when it came down to the taxes and all that kind of stuff, he really didn't think that they were as bad as they were. And, you know, he missed some stuff, his accountants missed some stuff, and even the IRS missed some stuff. So it's not that he was keeping anything from Karen. He just thought everything was taken care of. And, you know, when it comes down to Ray and Karen's tax issues, mostly Ray's tax issues through his business, I don't understand. I mean, I get it. That is his wife. But when it comes down to his taxes, the whole thing with the taxes is his business tax. Karen is not his business partner, so Ray doesn't really have to tell Karen everything about his business. So, I mean, I get it. It's a catch-22. That is his wife, but she's not his business partner. So if he chooses to discuss his business finances with her, he can, but he's not, you know, obligated to, because she doesn't work for him. They're not, you know, co-owners of the business. So he's the sole owner with his partners and all that kind of stuff. So I get, you know, him not telling Karen. And, you know, Andy also asked him the question of, you know, are you on a payment plan and all that kind of stuff? And Ray said, you know, the taxes are taken care of. And, you know, Andy asked him, well, how much were the taxes? And Ray is like, you know, I can't really tell you how much it is because my lawyers, my accountants and all that, they don't want me to discuss it, which I really I respect that. Like, while, I mean, I get that, I get that they're on a reality show, but there are certain things that you shouldn't have to. All right, so then Andy asked Karen the question how she felt about the Green Eyed Bandits with that whole pizza situation. And I'm so fucking happy that Ray answered that question right away. He was like, you know, y'all got the landscapers in trouble because they boss thought that they were eating on the job and all that kind of stuff, which I was thinking to myself, what's wrong with the landscapers eating on the job? But okay, whatever. Well, I guess I get it. He felt like the landscapers were eating on the job and leaving the food there, which was causing raccoons to come and all that kind of stuff. So those dumb bitches got, sorry guys if you guys don't like me calling them bitches, but they dumbasses got those people in trouble because they boss sit there and thought they were eating the food on the job and leaving the food on their front doorstep. Like, y'all are so stupid. And I think I said that in my review on the season finale when they kept talking about, oh, you know, Karen doesn't live there because she didn't know anything about the pizza. And I said to myself in the review, Ray could have got it. Anybody could have picked that pizza up before Karen even came to the door. And I'm so glad Ray put that out there. And Karen is basically like, it was childish, which it was. And she doesn't understand why the girls did it, which nobody understands why they did it. And just Robin is like, you know what, Karen, I just wanted you to come to the door so that you could prove to us that you lived at that house. And I'm like, Robin, listen to how stupid you sound. You wanted her to come to the door so she can prove to y'all that she lived in her home. But Karen was like, well, Robin, I appreciate you for saying that my purse was on the counter. And then Andy asked Ray, does he and Karen live in that house? And he said, he said yes. But also Andy asked the Green Eyed Bandits, do they believe that Karen lives in the house? And Giselle says, I believe that they live in a part of that house. And Ray and Karen just started laughing. And I was with Ray and Karen like, excuse me, y'all. I was with Ray and Karen. Like, how stupid do y'all sound? Sitting here saying, you believe that they live in a portion of the house? Ray was like, oh yeah, I keep it downstairs in the basement, tied up and all that kind of stuff. And then, Michael decided to chime his ass in and talking about, they own their house in Potomac, but then they live here and it's smaller than their house in Potomac and it's far away from Ray's job and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, Michael, why the fuck is that your business? Like, shut the fuck up, please. Like, you ain't got a horse in this race. And then he's talking about their taxes and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, Michael, mind your fucking business. Like, worry about Ashley and what she got going on. Worry about her mama. Worry about her mama's boyfriend. Worry about your shit and worry less about Karen and Ray. Like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't understand that shit. And then they bring up Matt. And, they're talking, what is that girl named? Ashley. She's talking about how Matt is trying to be friends with Charisse, Charisse herself, basically all the girls. And shout out to It's Rocks, because she, in one of her reviews, she was talking about when she was on Karen's Instagram, she commented on one of Karen's Instagram posts, and she went back and she noticed that Matt liked her post. And I actually follow Karen now too. And I've, commented on some stuff too, and I saw where, where everybody else but Karen likes the post. And so when I saw Forrest Rock's her comment, I looked at it and I saw that Matt did like it. And then something in me just said, go look at this dude Instagram page. If you actually go look at his Instagram page, he has a whole lot of the Bravo celebrities on his thing. He's had pictures with Vicky Gunvalson from Real Housewives of Orange County. I have saw him with, I think, Gretchen Rossi from Orange County. I've saw him with some of the Jersey Housewives. So I saw him with, and I think I saw him with Jimmy Kimmel and all that kind of stuff. So I get where they're coming from. And, Charisse is like, you know what, I do like him, but he does talk about you. And even Candace kind of, said, I haven't heard him talk about Karen, but I have heard him talk about us and the show. And I don't know. And then, Andy asked Karen, is Matt her manager? She said, no, he's a part of her management team. So, that's it with that. And then we move over to Andy asking about the Blue Eyes thing. And, Ashley is saying how Karen has a cease and desist order on her. So she really can't speak on it. But she does talk about she has a credible source who did see Karen and Blue Eyes and all that kind of stuff. And she's talking about it was her stepson. Which, how is that a fucking credible source? Like, he's your stepson. So I don't really get how that's a credible source. But whatever, if you say so, Ashley. But she does want to throw out there that Monique, was at the restaurant the night that Blue Eyes and Karen were there. And Monique said, yeah, me and Chris were there. But Blue Eyes was sitting at the bar. And then, Ashley's talking about, well, all the drivers that I know, they don't come inside. And I'm like, what is he, a fucking dog or something? Like, what the fuck is he that he cannot come sit at the bar? Is he a dog where you got to sit outside and wait for his master to come out there and tell him to fetch and play dead, roll over, whatever? Like, Ashley, shut up, because you really sounded stupid at that point. Like, really sounded stupid. Like, I don't understand her. Like, why? So, Andy asked Ray about Blue Eyes, and Ray says, you know what? Blue Eyes has been in my contact list for 15 years. And then, he was like, Andy asked him, did he ever suspect anything? And Ray was like, at one point I did suspect something, and I got my people who looked into it, but they found nothing. And then Ashley's stupid ass is over talking about, Ray, trust your instincts. He did listen to his instincts, but his instincts didn't prove anything. His instincts showed nothing. Karen and Blue Eyes, haven't done anything that Ray knows of, and I don't believe that Karen and Blue Eyes have done anything. And then Andy asked Sharice, is she single, and she said not yet. At that point, she wasn't. I really don't know if she is now. She said she should be divorced by before the end of August, which we are almost at the end of August now. So I'm guessing Sharice should be divorced by now. And then Andy was like, oh, well, Karen, you can introduce her to Blue Eyes. And this is the thing with Blue Eyes, because I've heard this before, that Blue Eyes is married. And I'm not saying that married people don't cheat. Not saying that at all. But I don't believe that Karen and Blue Eyes have anything going on. And so I hope that we can finally dead the whole situation of Blue Eyes, because I am so over hearing about Blue Eyes at this. And then Michael, they let Sharice go, so they were going to a break. And then Michael's sitting there talking about how Karen is like Teflon and all that kind of stuff, and then talking about how Ray is even worse. And I'm like, you are in their business, so what the fuck is your point, Michael? You are in their business. Like, of course they're gonna be rude as fuck to you. You ain't, and you minding their business, not yours. Excuse me, y'all. So we move over to Ashley and Michael. Ashley says that she and Michael are in a better place right now, and they are working on having a family with each other. She also did let us know that a few weeks after her 30th birthday, she was in fact pregnant. But 2 weeks into the pregnancy, she lost the baby, which that is sad, and I hate that Ashley lost her baby. So I'm not gonna say anything about that. Like, I really do feel bad for Ashley losing her baby, but she said that she and Michael are actually working on having another baby. She said that she's seeing a Chinese fertility doctor or whatever, some kind of shit like that. I wasn't really paying too much attention to it, but she did say that she and Michael are working toward having another kid. Cool. And then Andy asked, Monique how she felt about everything, and Monique just basically breaks down because of her miscarriage. But she did, she's talking about how she feels bad for Ashley, and she understands what what Ashley went through and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, that shows how big of a person Monique is. Like, despite all the shit that she and Ashley have gone through this whole season, she's actually able to put that shit aside and, show some empathy toward Ashley. So, cool with that. And then, Robin asked Ashley how her mom felt seeing her situation played out on the TV and all that kind of stuff. And I guess originally her mom didn't like it because she feels like that wasn't an accurate portrayal of her. But, she feels like looking back on the season that it actually did help her and all that kind of stuff. And, Andy's asking Michael about his relationship with Ashley's mom. And right now, the relationship between Michael and her mother, it's a work in progress. Ashley did let us know that her mom's boyfriend is actually working, which is a good thing. I guess looking back on this season and all that kind of stuff, it just helped her mom and her boyfriend see how they were using and abusing Ashley. So I'm glad that helped them out a little bit. And then, Karen is talking to Ashley, and I actually agree with everything that Karen said to Ashley, because, she was telling her how, she's lost her mom, and, sorry, y'all, I don't know what's going on with my throat. I have like a really bad cough right now. I'm trying to get rid of it, but it's not going anywhere. But Ashley, excuse me. Karen is telling Ashley how she lost her mom and all that kind of stuff. And, I agree with what Karen was saying, because, she knew that her mom was leaving her. But, given, if she could change things, I know Karen would wish that her mom could be there with her. I'm gonna try not to cry, because I cried watching that scene, because I know how it feels to lose your mom. Like, my mom, when she died, I didn't expect for my mom to die, because, she went in for surgery, and she came out of the surgery, And I took her home with me, and you know, an hour later, she kind of went down. You know, she was talking about, you know, she wanted to go lay down, and I got her up to go lay her in the bed, and she collapsed in my arms, and I had to call 911. And then we get her to the hospital, and they told us that she was bleeding internally, and they couldn't find where the bleeding was coming from. And they finally found the bleeding, but by that point, she had no brain activity at that point. But they still did surgery on her, and the surgery was a success. They got everything, but she was still again bleeding out. And by that point, you know, she had lost so much blood that there was just absolutely nothing that they could do for her. So I absolutely understand where Karen is coming from and saying to Ashley that, you know, cherish the relationship that you have with your mother, because life is not promised to us. Tomorrow is not promised to any of us. Like we could be gone tomorrow. So everybody out there who's watching, everyone out there who's watching my video, and you have your parents that are living, especially your mother or your father, just tell them how much you love them, because like I said, they could be here right now, and tomorrow you can wake up and they could be gone. So just cherish that relationship that you have with your parents. And Ashley said, you know, when Karen was on the stage earlier talking about her dad, that it made her go call her mom and just tell her mom how much she loved her. And I like that. Like, I wish every day that I wake up that I can just call my mom and just tell her how much I love her and how much I miss her and I need her. But unfortunately, it's just not something that I can do. But that was Real Housewives of Potomac. And leave your comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later for Insecure. I'm actually going to watch Insecure tomorrow while I'm at work, and I'm going to write my notes down, and I will record it, and I will put it up probably around the time that Love and Hip Hop comes on. So I will see you guys later.